Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. You know,
Dwayne Martin announced on IG that he's engaged.
we're gonna do this thing. See what we're working with. Hope everybody doing all right out there. Get this thing set up. Turn this thing on for you. Come on now. Restore you. Anyway, we are live today. We're gonna see what's up. I'm gonna get things started. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I just got on, so thank you. What's happening? Good morning. How you doing? Don't be alarmed. I'm just sending out. So if the thing starts spinning, it's because I'm sending out notices. So don't move. Keep on typing. How you doing? How you doing? Don't leave. Just send out notices. Just send out notices. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. Thanks for the donation, Jay Will. I'm still trying to figure out where the donations go to because I haven't showed up in my accounts yet. But I appreciate you donating. How you doing? How you feeling? Thank you all for coming through. So when he was with Golden State, he invested at Silicon Valley. That's where he generated quite a bit of wealth. I think he invested in the coffee thing in Seattle, if I'm not mistaken. And then of course, it's a combination of factors. So I'm not surprised that he's racking up. You know, he's quite KD is quite astute and a businessman. So don't be put off by the snarky echelons. He's a businessman. I think that so I have a PayPal and it has the logo above. Uh no one has said anything to I did have a Stripe, but it hasn't said anything. I don't know. I mean, and I appreciate the donations. I have to figure out where it going to exactly because um I don't know. I have to look into that because again, I appreciate all the donations, and that's one of the reasons why I had my personal address on my main page. If people want to send something direct, if they wanted to do direct, but I did have it set up with my thing. I just, so I will look into that. I'm supposed to link anyway. And I haven't heard anything for his super chat, nothing like that. But everything is still offered the same though, so don't be alarmed. Oh, the channel is good. It is good. And I do, appreciate everything. I tell it every time. Anytime you make a donation, I appreciate everything. Believe me, I do. Yeah, I will. I will check that out. Because that does get monetization on my stuff. Yeah, PayPal is what goes through my thing. I do have PayPal. PayPal works. That's probably what'll be the party. I do have PayPal. If you notice on my links, I do have PayPal. If you go to my thing. Oh man, stop with this nonsense. Like y'all played y'all best game. Y'all played y'all best game. And I'm honestly sure if Jaden Daniels doesn't get hurt, that they put a 30 on you, but you played great. The Washington secondary sucks. I mean, God, their secondary. I thought, there's a problem back there because they're not getting any coverage in the cover. That was bad with CD Lamb. They definitely have sucked on defense this year. Washington has let it down. Y'all are very lucky though. I'm telling you, y'all are a lucky 500 team. If y'all ever, y'all are a lucky team. I'm gonna tell you why you lucky. You lucky because the Giants don't have the Giants are the Giants. You do realize the Giants had to beaten y'all. How you doing? If the Giants had to beat y'all and they won their game like they're supposed to yesterday, you'd be in trouble. Well, it's just bad football. That's what's up. It's bad teams out here. That's what's up. It's bad, bad, brutal teams. I don't think it's a lot. That's why I said the Giants are the Giants. I think that the kid's pretty good, but the Giants are the Giants. They blew 2 games. They supposed to win that game yesterday. They spanked Philly and they go and play drop a dud like that. Because to me, I was telling my uncle, I was having a conversation, he's a big Washington Commanders fan. I said, look, the most dangerous team in the NFC East is the Giants because they got a lot of momentum with this kid, but they blew it. They blew it. And Sean Payton is winning those kind of games, so they blew it. Yeah, Miami sucks. That was embarrassing. I mean, there was. I did the video already. I talked about it. A lot of brutal games yesterday. Brutal. Bad quarterbacking. Yeah, Doug Martin. He was. Wonder what he passed from. I'm so you might know about me because I do vegetarian vegan. I do that. I do believe in helping liberalizing animals. Stay away from eating them. It's funny you mention that. Yeah, I remember Doug Martin. I had to take for a moment because I had to run a play my. Wow, I wonder what it was. I remember him. There's a lot of factors involved, though. You just never know. Oh, hello, how you doing? Yeah, I remember when he was with Tampa Bay. It's been so long ago. And again, he was like a second tierish type of back. But I do remember I remember a play in my mind. I forgot the team he was against. It was against Chicago. It was some game. He had a moment. And people throwing out numbers here. Okay. It's funny when you mention a guy like that because I can remember him. But if you said Curtis Martin, I remember Curtis vividly. Doug, I do. I remember Cadillac Williams. He had an outer body couple games too. And he played good for about what 3 or 4 games, and then he turned into a pinto. But he was Cadillac in there for a moment. I remember. Yeah, they big game tonight though. Big game tonight. Yeah, so if you want to talk football, let's talk. I There were a lot of embarrassing games and dreadful dreck. 49ers are a hard team to figure out because they won the game, and Atlanta is one of the most scariest teams, but Atlanta ain't consistent. They can be scary though. Atlanta kind of remind me of the Houston Texans though. And kind of team that they streaky. Right. I don't know what Aaron Glenn signed up for. I don't know what he signed up for. So where did you get that stat about Kevin Durant? Because I might make that into a video. Where did you pick that one up at? If you don't mind me asking. I might make that into a video. I might turn that into a video. I might have to turn that into a video. I can't say nothing about the Jets because the Jets. Oh, okay. I can't say nothing about the Jets because they just you know well they're forever linked, so it makes sense. They are forever linked. He's made some money though, but he again he doesn't put his money out there like LeBron does. He done pretty good though. He does a lot of acting though. And he's a strange cat too, because he's not really a product pitchman. I mean, you'd be hard pressed. He had that movie. He's an interesting cat. He's smart though, because he usually tends to play for places that don't tax him too bad. So we'll see. Is it an older or a younger player? Because I'll tell you this, I know for a fact that Kevin Garnett is way up there though. I could believe it because he got paid. That's not surprising. He did get paid. It's just that he don't play worth it though. He's been to one finals and he had that 70-point game. And yeah, I can believe it. Yeah, well, considering that he done stole most of people's money. Because to be honest with you, after game two of the finals against Milwaukee, he ain't really been seen much. He didn't booked. But I believe it though. That's because you ain't really followed him like that though. Because I followed him and he looked like he was gonna be. They wanted to push him the narrative Junior Whopper Kobe, even though he's a triple Junior Whopper. And he's like Paul George. That's basically what he is. See, I've been watching Book. and he morphed up. He was messing with that Kardashian too, so he did all. He be doing good for himself, but he stole money though. He got a lot of that Dame Lillard in him though. But hey, I ain't hating. Hustle it while you can. I know. Even with technology. And if we were talking 30 years ago, you'd have to read the paper like 2 days later to even care about it. I understand. You ain't got to explain nothing. I remember what it was like when I was on the East Coast. We'd be laughing because us it was the Lakers or something. He was like, "Wow, whatever. What's happening? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Good to see you, Tom. Appreciate you." We didn't pay it no mind, especially if their teams ain't gonna win nothing. They were fun to watch for highlights, but they were no threat. So, and those teams always had some high flyers or some guys that were ooh and ah, but they never won nothing. So, and you play for the Lakers, I didn't know you. You play for the Spurs, I didn't know you. You know what I'm saying? Because pretty much that's all you knew until Golden State started winning. You ain't even know nobody else existed out west. That's kind of how it is because the West is like that. They go through one honeymoon of one team dominant, and that's it. You get two tops. Everybody else plays like the cats that you see on these teams. It's like cats you play pickup ball with, but you're like y'all having fun. You ain't gonna win nothing, but you're having fun, and that's kind of how it is with a lot of those teams out there. He's with Sacramento. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, he's a former MVP. It'd be embarrassing if they whiteballed him out to roll him out. I do think this will probably be his last year, though. I doubt very seriously they will go more than another year tops for him. And he should consider retiring. I mean, you're playing for like half the league, and you're one of those guys that you can do a little something, but they took you away a long time ago. I just feel for him because of the way he got shortchanged with the whole thing with LeBron and them in LA. They ain't gonna take him back. They don't want him back because they got a young nucleus and energy. I think if he left in goodwill, they might say okay, but what's he gonna be able to tell a cat when the cat then had what you call a triple crown for you one? Well, you would too. Oh, he's gonna get in the hall. Yeah, well, because no, I didn't see that. Um, Frank Vogel did everything the right way by him and still lost his job. And he did get snowed over by AD and LeBron. He actually was playing his right way. It's just LeBron got in his way, messed it all up. The styling. No. Oh, Mac, the slam dunk king, the slam dunk king. That's funny. The slam dunk king. He played like him too. He gonna be there for like 30 years. They're gonna make a movie about him. That's the only reason I know him. McLovin. He's McLovin. Dude gonna be a W. He gonna be a G leaguer. He gonna have more G League points than Bronny James has. Never mind. He averages more slam dunk wins than never mind. Bronny's never mind. Yeah, but the problem is that Russell didn't have a shot, and they used it against him, and they used other things against him. And plus, it's not just about how well you play; it's how well you play the game. It's a game within the game within the game, and he didn't burn a lot of bridges, and he's had people that turned on him. Paul George is a good suck up. MB got that MVP, and MB pretty much can coast, but you don't get the same treatment. Oh, we do, but no one's going to take McLovin overseas. Let's not get carried away. He's gold in the G League because he come from. because he stunk. That's why. Shoot, he went to garbage teams, and he was half hearted. His heart wasn't in it after he got let go. When Iguodala came, he wasn't in it. He didn't really fit with Denver because he caught Carmelo. He was an old man trying to stay relevant, and it didn't work. Yeah, and no one wanted to go to those two at that time. When he went to Detroit, they were back to Saudi Arabia. And he went to Memphis. That's El Segundo. That was not going to work. Those were two jerseys that you just show up because you're an extra in a movie. He was out of his element, and it was a bad look. He did those for paychecks, and he didn't even really want to go to Memphis. Nobody did. So I understand. I got it. But when he became expendable, that's what happens. And then you play long enough and you don't have a built in like Kobe did or Tim Duncan did, you get expendable, you know, unless you don't mind being moved around. But, you know, he was expendable. Yeah. It's just that we didn't get the fullness of him. That's the sad part of it. Incredible talent. We just didn't get the totality. Yeah, but I don't really get excited about that. I mean, if you're not really winning, I understand you getting that pension and in your bag, but I mean, you're playing for Atlanta Hawks, okay, with Trey Young. You obviously gonna get a paycheck. There's a strip club and there's hometown discounts on meals, but you ain't winning nothing. So I mean, and I like Vince. Don't get it twisted. It's just that I ain't, all that you saying. It's not like I'm looking at a guy that won a ring and had a great and got the totality of his career. Because, be honest with you, his career was pretty much done by 2008, but he stuck around, stayed in shape, and got to play. And I'm not hating, I'm just stating for someone gets it twisted, you know. So some people will probably like, I don't romanticize stuff like that because I don't like to see a cat that was, especially when a cat like that. Because to be honest with you, with me and Vince, it was pretty much over. He went to the Nets, but it was pretty much over when that whole thing with Jordan in the All Star game, and that was Jordan's last one, and that whole thing. It's like his peak and his prime came, and it just became a guy that you went from looking at as like wow, and then it became okay. It just got routine. And I don't usually agree with Gilbert Arenas, so you better mark this down. But he was right. Talent wise, he was more talented than Kobe Bryant to me. He had incredible skill set. It just okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Kick it. Go ahead. I'm waiting for the stat. 50-50 on about the weekend's protest, man. That's pretty good. We got 50-50 so far. So thank you for voting and taking and participating. Feel free to come on through. Don't be shy. We're coming to you live today. It's October 20th. What's happening? How you doing? Thank you for coming through, RC. I'm sure I'm gonna get some good questions again. So let's do it. Appreciate everybody coming through. What's their record? They 3-3-1. Okay, I'll give you a win against Washington, but you beat who? The Jets and the Giants. You won a cookie and you tied Green Bay at home and you gave up 40. And that 2 point return is the only reason why you were in that game against Green Bay. And what? What does he do? See, this is what cracks me up about Cowboy fans. Y'all got these empty, meaningless stats. Patrick Mahomes has twice as many Super Bowl appearances that Prescott has postseason wins. Okay. I think that was cool. I was. And it's sad that he's gone. I'm what am I supposed to do with a 500 team? What we gonna do with that? People get excited about the most mundane thing. I mean, your division is janky. You're the second in place by default. And I'm just waiting for y'all to go play somebody and lose. And they not and their defense sucks. And they're an average team. Uh till you win something. Till you win something. I mean, the guy been there 10 years. I mean, y'all want cookies. Y'all crack me up how y'all be about them Cowboys. Y'all go all overboard. Like, oh wow. See, I'm a Bills fan. I'm not excited about my 4-2 rocker. I'm not excited about. I'm not getting it giddy. Got expectations. He's not getting no MVP, by the way, because they're gonna make sure Baker Mayfield gets it if Mahomes don't. So you can kiss that goodbye. They're winning. They did good enough. But let's not get carried away. That's the way it's gotta be. You can't have an MVP quarterback and think less. Usually it is. No, I don't. Because I don't like the way our defense don't stop the run. We don't run enough, and Josh Allen's out there playing Russell Westbrook football. I don't like that at all. Not at all. I think that they got all the makings for an early knockout. They got to play Kansas City soon. They don't stack up well against a team like that. I don't know. Who's still employed as a coach? What are you talking about? You talking about Sean McDermott? I don't know if either one of them will win. Oh, because he fits a profile and the owner don't really care. And plus the owner, so you do know that Mike McDaniel is supposed to be a light skinned brother, right? You do know that, right? So he actually has got Stephen Ross by the bullhorns because if he fires McDaniel and you already got one black man got a lawsuit against you and Brian Flores, so you went higher and got Napoleon Dynamite, a light skinned version. You can't let two brothers go and not look suspect. So Stephen Ross actually got to take that L, unless of course he can go find another brother and show that he ain't a bigot, which he or he is. But that's no story. No one wants to coach the Dolphins. Nobody sane does. It's so bad they got Richie Incognito got employed as some kind of gig. I think Tua can play. I just think it's the wrong system. I just think they got to have somebody who knows how to utilize the components. And all they like to do is run fly patterns and run all over the field. They don't really, play cohesive football. And that's what you're seeing. There's no checkmate. that's just straight, and that's why, you know. But Tua was gonna pay. He gonna catch an L yesterday because he talked that smack about the team last week, and I think they just sat there and let him take it against Cleveland. I think he had to take that. But they quit on McDaniel though. They quit on him. They can't play in the cold, and now if they can't play in the, they're in trouble. I don't know why you're depressed. You suck. You stuck with two lemon quarterbacks, a coach that's out of his element, team that don't really care, and you know, I mean, they stink. I mean, you know, it's like I don't know what to be depressed about. Yeah, I hope you ain't have no expectations that you were going to win 5 games. I mean, you stink. I would be depressed about the fact that Sam Darnold is in Seattle looking like he be in MVP discussions. I'm not quite ready to say that yet. But I will say this, Daniel Jones looks very poised. He's playing very good football. And I do like Jonathan Taylor a lot. And if those turkeys ever stop celebrating before they cross the goal line, they might be on to something. They just got to play full quarter. Don't do stupid stuff. That's no reason why they're not defeating them. But I don't know. I mean, they're really up there, though. Because you don't know how trades are going to turn out. No one saw SGA being this kind of player. And if you were looking at, you didn't know. You didn't know. Locations means everything. Dominate what? The bench? He ain't gonna do nothing. He'll pull a afro pick out his hair and say, "Oh, I gotta go for 2 months." He ain't gonna do nothing. Dominate nothing. All he gonna do is dominate that bench. That's all he gonna do. Dude ain't got it in him, yo. People been copping pleas for this cat like he's on death, like he's trying to get off death row or something. I mean, he ain't gonna do nothing. It's a waste of talent too, because he could have been bad too. Been talking about the process for like 20 years. I mean, how much longer we gonna do? Until I see it, I believe it. Till I see it, I believe it. Well, he has it going for him because the Celtics ain't gonna be much, and I don't know about the Pacers, so he got that going for him. The Knicks are kind of iffy. Cleveland's soft, so and Orlando's young, and they got the wrong head coach to run the offense. So he might have hope. You might, you might, if those things go like I think. Cause I'll break this down to you. The Knicks, they missing something. They missing another piece. That Giannis thing would have been sweet. If you keep Brunson and Cat and you got Giannis, that could have been a dominance. That was real. But I just think James Dolan is the reason why nobody won't touch that. Cleveland is soft. They can score 20 guys and score 15, but they Donovan Mitchell got Twinkie in him. So you can't trust them. Look, the 49ers, C-Mac is one of the best backs, okay? Mac Jones, look, Kyle Shanahan, shenanigans, as I call me and Ted used to call him shit. If he gets it done in the postseason, he'll look like a genius. He'd be the second coming of Bill Walsh. And that's not no hyperbole because he done choked 2 Super Bowls and he choked that NFC Championship game against the Rams. Think about it. He wins one or two of those things, and we're looking at Kyle Shanahan is equivalent to his daddy, if not better, because no one thinks of Brock Purdy. They got rid of Trey Lance with Purdy. He makes quarterbacks look good. They can play. They can play. It's just a matter of how focused they stay. That's the problem with them. But regular season, they're as good as anybody. It's the postseason we got to worry about the 49ers. And no one's taking them serious because they know that dude is known for injuries or choking. They find a way to gag. But I kid you not. Ask the Cowboys about the 49ers. He put anybody back there and they'll beat them. I'm just telling you. 49ers are going to be a problem. I think they will because I'll tell you. Well, I don't know if the Rams weren't so inconsistent. Because I think that division, those two teams are legit. So whoever comes out with those two, I think the 49ers are a little bit better. It's got nothing to do with his size. He just doesn't have that. When Shaq told him on TV to his face that he didn't consider him a superstar when he was in Utah, he didn't lie to him. He doesn't have that takeover vibe. He's a double broke junior whopper, D Wade. And there's nothing wrong with being compared to something, but he doesn't go next level. Like if he had Jalen Brunson's tenacity, they'd be enough to come out. They got enough talent that, and I like Jared Allen in the bench, but they don't do it. They just play soft. You know how this is going to end with them, and that's the problem. Well, y'all can't beat 49ers. Now, tell me where I'm wrong. Where am I wrong at? They knocked y'all butt out 2 or 3 straight years. That's when Dak throws his best picks when he plays them. Now, if Donovan was. Mobley's tough. I'm not saying they got talent. Um, this is a good question because I'll tell you why. Eyeball tests will tell me that eyeball test, you run your system through the run. Point wise, you run it through Donovan. They kind of similar because they both faded. They give you a couple rounds. I think Deron, when he got into it with Jerry Sloan, messed up his whole thing. I think if he had been on his P's and Q's, he could have been something. And then when he wanted to go back home and cry to go back to Dallas and he sucked, then that just faded off. Because once upon a time, he was one of the 3 best point guards in the league with Rondo and CP3. I believe that. I really do. And he was that dude. Mitchell just doesn't finish nothing. Like he's good, he's stats, and then he'll go soft. That's all. I think Ty Bowles will get it though. You told anybody that Baker Mayfield be an MVP candidate, and plus to come back Brady and the what Bowles, they're not really an offensive juggernaut. You know, oh, it's because of the goat, because of the little peach fuzz on their face. They got the same last name, but I'll say this: if Caleb doesn't act crazy and stays consistent, he won't make the mistake Deron did. Deron made a mistake when he ran Jerry Sloan off. He never recovered. Deron should have been a great point guard. Mitchell, at worst, has got like Mookie Blaylock syndrome. He's going to be second round. Problem is, he's got too much talent to just be in there. So, no. Caleb Williams is quarterbacking good. They know how they're winning close games, beating teams they're supposed to. And they'll get their real tests against the Detroits and the Green Bays. That's where it is. I think they can beat the Vikings, but I think the Green Bay, Detroits, and the upper tier teams will be the real test. Yeah, don't forget they had Carlos Boozer. And they were trying to make them out. I had a buddy of mine used to always walk down the street talking about, oh, they had the Nick Stockton and Malone. I said, who's your drug dealer? I like Paul Millsap. Al Jefferson was decent. They should beat the Ravens. They better. If they don't beat the Ravens, then they are a fraud. And I'm saying it now because that's a stand statement. You know what? The only thing people remember Carlos Boozer for is one thing. Because he rented out his house, which was 3121 to Prince. And that's the only time he tells a story. Yeah, the hairspray, but him renting the house out. And Prince rented at least his house for a year. And then Prince had everything taken out, turned it purple, turned it into all this. And then a year later, he gave it back to him just the way it was. That was crazy. Boozer was always one of those guys that was in the right place. He had like a Forrest Gump type of career situation, but then it turned into a Dumb and Dumber. He never finished off what he had. He had some good situations. Karolinko, um, funny story. He was a good player until his wife gave him that one night free pass for whatever he wanted to do. And he never was the same. I remember that. Yeah, there was a rug on his head, but they do that too. He was kind of like a updated Detlef Shrimp. That's how I look at him. But yeah, but after his wife gave him that free one night to do what he wanted, I don't know if it just did something to his head. He never was the same again. I don't know why. He wasn't the same. Yeah, I remember him. They could use some of them cats today. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, see, I remember I follow cats on and off the court, yo. Wife was nice looking too, and she said, "I know how the road is." She was saying it in the language, and he said it, and then I don't know why he said it because after he said it, then he wasn't the same. He wasn't the same. When them groupies probably put some voodoo on him. Yep, that was a funny story, but it should be up there on Google. You should be able to Google it up. I told you when you come here live, we talk about stuff I don't usually put on regular videos because I do a 3, 4, 5 minute format, sometimes 10, but I don't really put that kind of stuff. Oh, heck no. Heck no, because Doug Christie's wife messed it up for all of them. Mm-hmm. And cats talk too much. Cats is worse than women on the plane ride. Somebody will say something wrong. I remember Charles Smith, and that was unfortunate because he should have tried to go for a dunk, but hey, trying to post up, it wasn't. Yeah, but Steve Harvey hustled him way in other ways. He still kept a gig, you know. He still kept a gig. But he was envious of him though. That's been documented. That's been documented. But hey, it's a cold business. It is show business. And it's called show business. It's not called business or show. It's called show business. You show your business, you're gonna get some stuff. I like him on Family Feud. And I like him on the Steve Harvey show, which I like. Even though I know he probably took that from Mark Curry, but hey, the industry don't care, you know. But that's the business, y'all. It's a cold business. Yeah, she was. There's a lot of that goes on. Hmm. Stuff that you see, because see, if you pay attention to some of these wives, they say some stuff that be. Well, it's because he's probably got more charisma on that show. Because remember, Richard Dawson hosted back in the day. Richard Dawson used to kiss all the women in the mouth. You couldn't imagine that today, but he did back then. So he's probably the most personable person to host the show. And they think something of him. The ratings have been good. He keeps a gig. He all right. He all right. A lot of cats chase Derek Fisher around because D Fish keep. What the story is that if you got women fish in your fish tank, you hide your fish. 'Cause fish go fish. The funniest D Fish story I heard was when he coached the Knicks, and you remember they sucked, and he be drawing up plays. What happened was Tim Hardaway Jr. The story is Tim Hardaway Jr. had to keep his girl away because apparently he was drawing up he was macking. He's like, "Man, you come over here to the corner, and you can be an open three with me." That way, they was getting their butt blew out. Remember, he had a little coaching gig with the Knicks. They was up there drawing up Mac plans. Yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr. said to keep his girl away from D Fish. Fish is wild, yo. But see, Matt Barnes is thought he's 304 too. So yeah. Oh, he always, he talks real articulate too. Says, "Well, I want to make sure that I, have the best of this." I remember when his daughter had to get the and prayers to her too. She had to have some kind of treatment, and he was in Utah. And he says, "I can't have it here. I have to have it in L.A." Because he wasn't. He was riding the pine with Jerry Sloan. Yeah, he was riding the pine. His only field what made him work. Well, he probably was macking on half the section too, if I know him. I actually used to work with a girl who went to school with him in Arkansas, and she talked about him. She said he was something else. Oh, Fish. BJ was good, but BJ was kind of stunted. You know, he could shoot a little bit. Fish actually was a good fit with the Lakers, and he hit one of the 10 most essential shots in Laker history. You already know that in San Antonio, because you remember what Shaq said: "One lucky shot deserves another." That was D Fish, and he was a good tweener role guard for what he did with them. You know, he's one of the most important players the Lakers have ever had. I'm not going to even front on that because he was huge during those runs. BJ was good, but BJ didn't really. It was stagnant. He was what we call a role player guard, whereas today I don't know if he'd make it in the NBA. So Gary Payton threw it to his left. He was a left-handed player. That's how it worked. Gary threw the ball back, hit him in the left hand, and he got it off. And that shot is a reason. That shot, along with him being around, you know, and he was a good fit. Kobe liked him. Shaq did. He knew what to do. Oh God, this is an ugly list here. God. David West is gonna be my starter. Monte Ellis off the bench, and I'm cutting Jordan Clarkson. It's not hard. It's just I had to work out who I wanted to mess with. I like Wesley. Monte Ellis was a flash in the pan. He was nice, but Golden State definitely upgraded. We don't talk about Jordan Clarkson. He ain't bad. He ain't bad, but no. So no. I like how you dug these middle rollers out too. That's because that's kind of stuff I do sometimes. I like to pick on the guys that are kind of unsung or just of the second tier, third variety. I like David West though. Okay. We rolling good today, so if y'all keep it going on, I'll definitely be on another hour. I feel really good today, so if there's no injuries, because you do understand that this is not a good list because I got if you're talking no injuries, y'all's got these two beat by default. But if everybody was healthy, it'd be Sam Bowie, Yao Ming. Greg Oden would still get cut because he was mainly just a defensive dude. I never saw no offense out of him. Yao Ming did not put on enough weight and did not bulk up enough to get to the next level. I think he had potential in him. I really do. I really do. I think he could have been better. But Yao Ming ended up being like a Rick Smits type. No, because if you saw Sam Bowie playing with Kentucky when he was in college, he was legit. And you got to remember something. At that time, having a big was the way to go. I mean, you ask most cats all the way up till about, oh God, past Shaq. You go with a big 9.5 out of 10. Jordan was just an anomaly. That's like a once, that's a once in a blue. Obviously, if you mention Magic and Bird, but usually you would go with the big. The NBA was geared towards the big. I agree because people romanticize what they see, but if you're in a system where you don't get to thrive and you're one dimensional, and you got to remember, he had a system when the triangle came in and then having the right pieces. He plays with Terry Porter, his career might not be the same. He plays with Duckworth and those guys, it might not be the same. He might thrive individually, but you know what? He could have been like a bigger version of Mitch Richmond, score a lot of points, but always been playing second fiddle to Magic and the Lakers. So yeah, because that league was different. It's not like today everybody shoots the three ball and you got a chance. Free reign of what? They got lost to Boston in 3 games. Yes, he scored all those points against the Celtics, but he had a garbage team. He was hurt his second year. He came back, played. He had a great rookie year, but they weren't a competitive team. What are you talking about? Free reign for what? Free reign how? The team wasn't that good. Yeah, well. Green Bay. Pittsburgh sucks. And Aaron Rodgers is just a matter of time before he get hit one good time and he gonna lay and lay low. I mean, they don't play no defense, you know. And Jordan Love got to play better early, but Green Bay can beat them. I don't think Pittsburgh is that legit. I don't think they sliding fast. I just don't think they got any defense. I think if their defense was halfway okay, they might could be okay. Their defense is not that good. I think that's the biggest problem. Then on the other side, he can be problematic, but he did come back. They were poised enough to win the game yesterday. They will be okay. I think the Commanders' problem is that they got a little bit higher on the clippings that they got the NFC Championship game and they forgot to get hungry. I think that's what's kicking their butt. I understand it about Jordan Love, but I think their problem also is their defense. I just think that they're, you know, too much hype. Micah wasn't going to be the end all be all for this, and you got to play with consistency. You know, they got to address how they lost to a Cleveland Browns team. That's something they got to ask. So, oh yeah, listen, you're gonna have highs and lows. You're gonna have highs and lows. It's just par for the course. Play the game long enough. They're gonna have games where they get you ingrained, and the games that you are not. You just gotta take it how it is. And I always say, don't take your highs too high and your lows too low. You gotta stay even kill. They don't, because you stuck with Carson Wentz, and your coach really doesn't have a blueprint as far as getting his defense adjusted, running the ball properly. They don't. And see, he ain't Kyle Shanahan, so it's not like he knows what to do with a quarterback like these quarterbacks. They got Jefferson, who's one of the 3 or 4 best receivers in the game, but they're wasting them away. They better figure out something soon. Yeah, well, he's doing what he does best, though. Makes you wince. Because he's spent. Hold on, don't move. I got to see something. Yeah, I like Jefferson too, but it's a shame. Yeah, Jefferson gonna want to trade. So I mean, they wasting that kid away, man. They wasting him. And you know, I never bought Minnesota no way. I thought Sam Darnold was having an out of body. You would think Detroit. Well, he lost the locker room. He got hurt. He looked like an MVP candidate. He got hurt, and it fell off. He was tagged to be the new Big Ben too, and all that. And then Nick Foles fit the role better. I don't know who's gonna win. It's Bears, Packers, and the Lions. I think the Bears can stay consistent. It's gonna be big. It was. But no, it's not about dominance, but he fit. What we always talk about. Systematic, you fit. If you fit, you can look like a stud. If you don't fit, you can hit the road. Yeah, I remember you. How you doing? Maybe from a couple of days ago. How you doing? Thank you for coming back. No, but he found it with Peterson. Doug Peterson, for all his flaws, um, he coached up quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence played good for him. I mean, he does how to. He's the one who put Jalen Hurts. Thank you very much. Yeah, well, Chip Kelly, he can coach up, but he can't coach. So, not on the NFL level, he can't. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying you like the lives. Glad to have you on board. Like to have you here too. So, thank you. Yeah, it's all. If you get to the pros, somewhere dying, he's dying somewhere. Oh, we're doing music? Okay. Oh man. Oh wow. And all these cats are like broke R. Kellys to me. So but I'm gonna give it to the best one of the lot. It's Joe. Starting Joe. And the last two is tough because they double broke cats. Mario can write. Carl Thomas can sing a bit. I'll give it to I did like I wish. I think oh God, I think I go Mario Wayans for second, and then I gotta cut Carl Thomas. It was tough after Joe, because Joe's better than both them turkeys put together. He got a better catalog, better career, better range. I like songs by both of them, but Joe is like standing above both of them. He did, but before you asked me, he didn't go against anybody black, so I put an asterisk by his numbers, and I say what I say about Shohei Ohtani. Our Chip, what's happening? How you doing, Dakota? Our Chip and Brian know where it's safe. Could be, could be, could be. Chip just sucked at the NFL level. That was a disaster. Not much. How you doing? And I did answer your question that you put in the. I did address that again for you because I did read it after we closed last night, and I did answer it about that whole thing with Tom Flory. So I did answer back. So that was a good little question that you asked, and I think I explained it because he did win two with the Raiders, but one was technically in Oakland, the other one was in LA. Oh, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Now, as far as storytelling goes, Olden Polynice is one of the greatest storytellers ever. Oh, this list is horrific because these Olden is my starter. I guess I'll go in order because Philton Spencer sucked, but he's off the bench. Eric Montrose was a disaster. I want to say, was it him who who was it? Was it Meta? It was somebody who he tried to mean mug and then he got put down quick. I don't know, but I did address it though. And if you go back on there, you'll see the one that you wrote. Yeah, well, they were drinking smoothies, but they played like they was drinking Kool Aid. That's why I said when you mentioned them three, I was like, oh god, that just goes to show you, big soft dummy. They had no game. Even the name was busted. Cause I don't know nobody in real life named Felton. I know Milton. I don't know Felton. Felton. Well, I know as a musician's named Felton, but you know how old school that name is. What's up, Felt? Yeah, he was. And Eric Montrose sucked outside of North Carolina. Yeah, I was a you. I give you credit for having a straight face to put them three names up, because all three of them jokers. Uh, all right, keep on hitting the likes and keep on with the questions. We're getting good to the poll. 67% says no, so that's probably how I look at it. I mean, because unless you get impeachment or you really get them out, but it was good to see people unite. But they got to do more. Okay, see what we got so far. Everybody got quiet now. Let's see. Um, I like Howard Isley, okay, and then C.J. Watson and Tyus would be last. I like those cats. I like those cats. Yeah, Howard Isley was decent. Yeah, I miss that era of basketball because you had guys who actually would do curls and they came off the bench and they understood their role. That's a different era. That's a whole different era. Those guys today don't even get to even take off their street clothes, let alone play in the NBA today. Mm. Okay, let's get some conversation going. No, and he doesn't have to because he's got his pension. How you doing? What I mean by that is he's almost a decade deep into his career, so it's not a necessity for him. And he also is playing on what I call non-happening teams, so it's not gonna work him. So in that order, because Grandmama was bad for a moment. Eric Johnson was nice for a moment. McDice was a leaper, like on a broke Sean Kemp tip, athletic and everything. You know, Jawan cracked me up. He said, "I ain't soft. I play." He always be mean mugging. Light skinned brother always wants to play tough on TV. Nothing matches his college game. He was okay in the NBA, so he's the least of them. I don't know because Lamelo got to want to win, and I want to see if he's a stat pad or he's legit. But if you play in a place where you stat pad, you don't want to leave. You're getting paid. So, like I said before, you about Boozer, and I hate to say it because I'm a Michigan fan, but Jawan's NBA career was not that memorable. Boozer played a little bit better. I might have to do it, Y'all might have to go look at those. I might have to do one on those two. Do a future video, a battle of those two. That's funny. I definitely with Larry Johnson. I might have to put some with Larry Johnson because Larry Johnson was good. I might consider him. That's not saying much. That's not saying much because, I mean, that really ain't saying much. Shoot, I could make the case that Jalen Rose's career turned out better than both of them put together. But what you want me to say? He's still more known for giving up the 81 to Kobe, and I'm just saying, does it really? Mm. We starting Larry Bird. We gonna bench Dominic and we cutting Grant Hill. That's too easy. What did you expect me to say? Anything else? Of course, Larry Bird gonna start. And he comes off the bench, Grant, because at the peak prime, that's how it would go down. Grant Hill was never better than Dominic Wilkins. He had more overall what he would do, but Neek Neek would barbecue him. So that's not hard. Do I look like an NBA mascot? Do I work for the NBA? I respect him, but he's always been a good natured brother. He's just basically he's a lot like RG3, Scottie Pippen. because Grant never made no one better or played better with someone. I'll say when I say make someone better, I'm talking about what he would do to quicker picker up. Grant would have been just like Scotty, and they were a lot alike. Grant's a better scorer, but he couldn't facilitate. He needed to play with an alpha, and we never got him with an alpha. He would have been scary. Now, if he plays with an alpha, then that becomes a different debate. He was soft with it. Your pops was right. That's how we looked at him, like a Twinkie. Sorry, Hostess cupcake. Stackhouse said that when he came to Detroit. It's just that he just prim and proper, and you know. And I'm not saying it to diss him like he couldn't play, but he was hurt. But he got way more hype. And remember, he had the share co MVP rookie of the year with Jason Kidd, which was unheard of. That's how you know. So he could score, but I'm gonna tell you like this: if he'd have been half effective as Scottie Pippen, we'd be talking about Grant Hill's top 15. Yes, because if I saw what I saw this past year with him, yes, I like his game. I like his game. I think he got a chance to. I don't mention them because they're missing another couple pieces, and they did get robbed in that first round series against. There was a couple of suspect calls against the Knicks, but Cade Cunningham has got that Tyrese Halliburton type of. If you were looking for someone else who could emerge and you didn't see coming, I'm gonna say this too, because everybody that's loyal to this live stream that I do, and y'all see me weekly come through, I'll be making some assessments. If Cade Cunningham turns out like I think he is, you remember you heard it here first. If you ain't heard nowhere else. And I don't know Cade Cunningham from a hole in the wall, but I'll tell you, if anybody could shake up the NBA East and they're healthy and they got the right pieces, it would be with this cat. He got that in him. So I like Cade Cunningham. There's no you know. Oh, they will. They if they can pick up a piece, I got a nice young squad. And they are kind of like to me like a mini version of what the Pacers did. So if they get the right nucleus around him, they could be a problem. And you know Detroit's always good every 15 years to be legit. So they on that time period right now. Because I think Cade Cunningham is the truth. I really do. Well, they need help, but they also need a piece or two. Like I said before, you know. So Cade is legit. 60% said no, the weekend did not matter. Yeah, if you have like a 45 game season. Now they suck. I mean, look, they Lamelo. I mean, they can't stay healthy. They can't play defense, and they're good for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then reality hits. You know, yeah. Your guess is as good as mine. They might one of these days. There's enough parity going around. You never know. I want to say Dallas because they played did play in tournament. They didn't get in. The problem I have with the Spurs is this who's coaching them, the point guard positioning, the defense, and the bench. They got fundamental flaws. They didn't make it. They got knocked out in the play-in. That don't count. They didn't have a best of seven first round series. So I think that would be my logical pick. Well, he let me down, if you must know. I had high hopes for him in Sacramento. I really liked his game, and he didn't fell off. I don't know. We'll see. I understood why him not wanting to play with DeMar DeRozan because that was a bit much in Sacramento. But now, well, they all get their coaches fired. That's part of it. That's like going up if you're a star or superstar. That's almost like that. You gotta get one coach fired. But all due respect, Doodoo Brown wasn't really happening in Sacramento though. Doodoo Brown didn't really work. If it works, it's a good move where you got that one on one. If it works, that's a big if though. That's a big if. Oh yeah, Wimby is a very attractive proposition if it's done right, but it has to be done right. You know. But again, I heard of Hannah I did, and I forgot where it was, but I did hear that name before. No, I know a lot of people are riding. I'll say this: the Spurs should come up and be a threat. Because if this cat don't get better, is he gonna be seen? Is he? They want to make him out the next coming of Wilt Chamberlain meets David Robinson, or is he gonna be like a broke version of Yao Ming? So, hmm. um, Derek Coleman would start. That's a no brainer. Then I'd say Anthony Mason, and then I say Zebo, because Anthony Mason was underappreciated all around. He had handles for big dude. That dude could move that thing. But Derek Coleman was better of the three because they don't. They. Trevor Lawrence is something about them that's janky as I'll get up, and they play well enough to look like they got something, but then they fall off, and then they just look like it's half-hearted. They got all the makings of a good 6, 7 or 8 win with a tie and 8, 9 losses type of team. Just no consistency. I like Travis Hunter, but I just don't think they and long term Indy's better. Houston's starting to ride the ship. Jacksonville isn't Tennessee, so let's give it one of them they props in that regard. But you ain't asked what the question was. This is about if I'm doing peak for prime. If I'm asking about who put more will into it, then Derek Coleman would get cut. If you're asking me who had more skill set and I'm start benching cut, I'm starting Derek Coleman. I saw DC from Syracuse. He just didn't play up to hit half his credentials. Talent wise, he blows both those cats almost away. Almost, because Anthony Mason did have hops and Zebo could pound in placement. But Derek Coleman should have been mentioned in the same sense with Tim Duncan, the Karl Malone, and the greatest P fours ever. Mason and Randolph are nice, but they weren't like him though. So that's how I'm assessing it. Cause he ain't no leader. And I don't want to hear nobody talking about he didn't lead the team. Yeah, if he wins the chip, if he goes and beats Shaq when Shaq was playing out this world. And he beats Phil and he beats the Pacers Bird and beats Miller. He's top five ever. And you can't have a discussion without him not being top five. And he'd be the greatest role sidekick player ever if he'd have pulled it off. But he didn't. So he goes from either being potentially top five or six to somewhere in the 35 to 42 slot, as far as I'm concerned. That's where I got him. Because he had a chance to really make strides with that, and he didn't. You can sit there and say that all you want to, but let me say it like this. Like there's some vendetta against a guy who's a half-hearted scorer. Really? Is that what we're going to subscribe to? I watched Scottie Pippen play. I didn't watch the bulk of his career. He'd have games where he could score 40, and next game he may score four. He was never that dude. Um, I know that, but Portland still had a chance to win that series, and that's one man. That's not saying the totality of the team. So that's all I'm saying about it. You can say what you want. What you mean, Scotty? Only 8 to 10 players ahead of Reggie all the time. What you mean? I don't understand that. Oh, that's not. That's a fact with me. That's a no brainer. He's better than both those guys put together. Because Carmelo Anthony didn't get the half of what he had when he was in college in his pro career. Denver was his best option, and he went to New York and he played part time and he was modeling the other half and macking on the other side. And T Mac could never stay healthy, and he didn't really do anything to lift a team like Dominique. He scored a lot of points and he was a very talented dude, but that was it. I guess so. But Scotty to me is in the 42, 45 bunch. That's all it was. The crib, the party scene, and model. And chasing thoughts. That's what he did. He would have been the ultimate cheat code had he gone. He should have gone into Miami or gone to Chicago, gone somewhere and just cheat and score points. Cherry pick. He'd have had an incredible career. Because he didn't even play well with Lynn Sanity. He missed the boat on that. They had a nice little squad too, but him and Amari came to party. He was already overrated with Jordan or no Jordan because he couldn't really utilize the so-called around skills elsewhere. The thing about him is his defense was great and he put some numbers, but he wasn't a scorer. That's all he wants in LA. Like Skip Bayless said it best, he came to chase Michael B. Jordan, not Michael Jordan. It's true. Because he done ran off all them players and them coaches. You see how things play out in motion. So he he has a charisma about him because of there's a certain type of it there, but he doesn't translate into like anything, but so Surrey almost is Toronto. And I got the funny feeling that they bet they need this one more than Seattle because I think Seattle will be back. But I won't have no problem if Seattle did because Seattle was my pick coming out the L. I still think the Dodgers win the whole thing, but I think these teams are very evenly matched though. So I'd like to see Seattle do it, but I think Toronto might have it. Except this is the problem. He was never Snoop Dogg though. He came after Jordan. He had an integral part, but Scotty's more like Warren G in that collection or the Dog Pound. He was never the main dog. He was not. He was not Snoop. He was not Dr. Dre. And he wasn't Tupac. He was the Dog Pound, or he was Warren G, or he was Nate Dogg. He was the Hook. See, I do these sports and music metaphors pretty well, and I can put them two very well. Now, there people do got love for him, but sometimes they use him though. It cracks me up how these people try to make it out when they try to justify LeBron and use Scotty as leverage. Ain't no leverage there. If you're a six-time champion, you know how to take a young team under your belt and to beat your former coach, and he did not do that. He do. I like a handful of his songs after what the last 20 years, but he just basically he basically been tap dancing and shuffling so long, and he just doing the same old thing, you know. What cracks me up is there people who still buy the routine because the guy is in the burbs. When you're when you're besties with Martha Stewart, Bow Wow Yippee Yo Yippee don't quite hit the same, you know. Great at what he did though once upon a time, but I don't want to hear it, you know. Cause I know he been bought and paid for. He's become everybody's favorite uncle too. Hmm. They cleaned him up so good that he's spick and span. That should be his nickname. Call him spick and span because people forget all about his situations and well, I mean, if you're still listening to him, I like that California Roll one he did with Pharrell and Stevie Wonder. But it's all about the hits. That album was okay, but his he been riding the same old Bow Wow Yo Dig Dog. Yeah. And you gotta remember something. He had a one trick pony with his flow and his style. I will say this in his defense. He's a very intriguing cat. He's almost like the Shaquille O'Neal of hip hop because if you go back when he was in his peak in his prime, he could go to any label and he could make you blow up. He had that it. He did it for Cash. He did it for No Limit, and he did it for Pharrell and them for Neptune. But he also, you know, I was gonna make a point before you said that he just fell off, and and a lot of it, you know, probably in that order. For those films, I'd say in that order. I like The Exorcist and then Nightmare. Probably, I'd probably say in that order. But yeah, Snoop's situation is that you know, it was intriguing, and then the novelty, and he was the bad guy, and then it's a trip I played it, what have you. Had that voice though, but then he did get robbed out of. He got robbed twice. They brought Tupac in, and then later when Dre worked with Eminem. So we never got that proper follow up with him and Dre because when he came out in '93, he was that voice. '92, that voice. People were waiting. He had that voice. He had that it. So we never got him and Dre aside from a track here and there. We never got that. You know. So that's gotta kind of mess with him. Nothing except Buried in terms of being the main dude on the label because Death Row was geared towards Snoop, but Tupac was the martyr. I guess because I got to really think about these movies, I'd probably say I start Children of the Corn, bench Leprechaun, and cut Child's Play. I don't think he did anything for his career. Oh, yeah, I just got through saying he was the martyr. And that had to mess with Snoop because Death Row was set up for being Snoop and Dr. Dre's. They were going to be the main feature. And I'm gonna say something that I said before. Dre and Snoop were supposed to be like the Quincy Jones, Michael Jackson of hip hop. You know, the dynamic duo, and it got buried because Pac was like a movement, and you bring that energy and it hits is what you saw. And Suge's thinking I can. It's like I made money off of Snoop. I'm gonna make money off of Pac, and the excitement went intensified because it's like an auction. And that's why when I get into these tangents, we be saying stuff because sometimes people looking in like, oh, where are they going with this? Well, so I'd have to build a tree. No, I'm not gonna say Kendrick because I'll tell you why. He's got commercial appeal and he's got some quotes and some stuff, but he doesn't have pocket charisma. It's his is like a it's um DMX. If you okay, so let me do the tree. Nobody is him. But if you took parts of DMX, parts of Kendrick, and parts of Eminem's commercial appeal, there you are. You'd have to do a 3 for 1 because M has commercial appeal and a wit built in. DMX had this cathartic thing going, and Kendrick connects something, but Pac was on another level though. And like I said, I'd have to put 3 pieces to create a. If you let me, I had to create a template to make it work because nobody, not in hip hop, nobody. I haven't seen anything. Mm-mm. But to be fair, I don't think none of those cats match Biggie either. Why would I say those two? Jay Z, East Coast and catchy and stuff, but he doesn't have no flair. He stuck around long enough. Lil Wayne, catchy, but it's again, those cats remind me of like kind of rooted for where they were. I don't really get no depth out of it, like that. And some people think because we sell our records, I'm like, mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Pac just had a way that he connected with the people, and it was also a reflection of the times. So he, and he had different. wordplay, and it's just a different hit. So that's how I look at that. I think there's some truth to what she's saying. I think it's the right message, wrong messenger, though. Oh, Jay Z got some bad business acumen. That's not no hyperbole, but it's the right message, wrong messenger. She ain't the only one that's questioned Jay Z business wise. It's just that, she's desperate because she's kind of got left out in the cold. She didn't put money in his title music service and she had business deals with him. And I don't think that's how people try to say about Kanye. I don't think it's all crazy. I think he got people's money tied up. I think it would be a Ponzi scheme. I think there's something deeper than you can imagine that's coming down the pipeline. You heard it here first. And that's what I'm going to say about that. Jay Z's got a lot more stuff coming. You know. Cardi B got an appeal kind of like, I'd say more like Little Kim than Tupac. I wouldn't call it Tupac appeal. I think it's more like Little Kim. Um, the only female artist that I would say that makes me think, oh yeah, I did, and I'll tell you about that whackness in just a little bit. The only female artist I say that could probably had a Tupac thing as she kept on going with been Lauren Hill. Actually, Aaliyah, as far as the film thing, channeled him too. It's two different entities that work there, different energies. Yeah, I heard that whack album. Anderson Paak is her new arm candy, and he gave her sloppy thirds of Silk Sonic leftovers, and she looks like she's stuck as a mannequin. She's just doing, a couple okay songs, nothing to write home about, nothing at all. She crossed the finish line 20 plus years ago. She just kind of like mopping and glowing, but ain't nothing there though. Yeah, I heard that whack album. It was like one a couple okay songs. The rest of that stuff, she just was it just going through the motions. I saw her and Anderson Park performance on Saturday on Fallon. She even got a song where she dissing Nick Cannon still, so you know how pathetic she is. She's trolls. There's part of me that always wants to like her, respect her, but there's other part of me just think that she just do too much. Yes. And you should know when your stuff sucks. And I can tell you that you can go and tour, but you don't need to put out no new music. Frankie Beverly showed you that, hey, you get it right, you can ride with your 10 tracks deep. You ain't got to keep putting out no whack albums. We're through with you long ago. We don't need it no more. When people be lying to you, telling you got a banger, and oh man, what's up? What's up? Long time no see. What's up? What's up? Yeah, good win for you. I was talking about you earlier. We was talking about that. Y'all gonna y'all, how you been? How you feeling? Glad to see you. Well, they did play the Cardinals, but Brissett played good though. Brissett played good. It's just that it is Arizona, and you always got hope. Even if there ain't no time on the clock, they are Arizona. I don't know no Mariah Carey fans like that. And the ones I do know, they always try to say she's better or as good as Whitney, and I have to clap on them and say, no, she's not. And then they try to tell me how she wrote and produced her stuff. I said, that's nice. I said, but nothing is memorable. I said, I like Mariah. She's got that New York edge. I got her vibe, but she leaves me cold, you know. I know when people come running me about her octave range, but I'm like, I'm waiting for her to just do something that doesn't sound so predictable, and she wants to be this contrived diva, and she's got this Delulu. I can't deal with her, so I don't. Oh, I did a video about that, Ted. I did a video about that. It's in my. You gotta check my catalogs out. I did that. I tore his behind up, and he trying hard as he might. See, if he was black, that stuff would be plastered everywhere. I don't think. I think he can quarterback. I just think that they just don't have no structure. He don't know what to do because Marjorie Taylor Greene is dissing Trump every day. So Vivi can't. I mean, it's bad, and they won't accept him. He's trying to. Listen. Let me address this about Mariah and Beyonce. She's better than Beyonce. She's got better songs in the catalog, and she controls. And she actually has a better presentation. But Beyonce's got the it that Mariah ain't. Plus, Beyonce's a better performer. If you put the two together, you'd have a great peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I know. But I'm telling you, Vivek is runs his mouth too much. I watch all of it, and I'm gonna call the tap dancers out. I don't care who you is. Has anyone been as far? Oh yeah, because if you last long enough, you will get it. She is better than Beyonce. Ask Ted. Ask the other cats in here who they think is a better artist out of Mariah and Beyonce. Ask if Beyonce got a better catalog than Mariah. Ask. Go ahead. Feel free. I'm not talking about some old token album of the year that Jay Z had to cry on stage about. Please give your boy Ho. Please give my wife the award, please. He ain't boycotted. He still got stuff that people bought. He produced his antics, his meds. He know what he doing. Ain't nobody stopped him. He just ain't pay nobody. That's all, and he own money. The problem with Beyonce is that it's like, if she had that one song. And what? Live performance, yes. I'll give you, as a live performer and having like an ability to perform and that it. But if I'm going by songs, where's her vision of love at? Where's her we belong together at? Her best songs are them crazy in love. No one talks about her as no songwriter. She's this package that blew up. But the artistry, and she's had opportunities to bury. She can't bury nobody because she's not original. She's the love child of Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, and she's still in the showers of all of them. Like, if you take her as a live performer out, what else does she got over Mariah? I'm listening. Because he didn't hate it on black folks. He talk reckless. He pimps out his women. He just, and he's, on a lot of stuff that he done. And he's been, him and Candace Owens and all the antics he did. And he just made himself look like he deranged, self-centered and spoiled, and a cat that, you know, and people just lost. And his music went down too. I mean, again, he was a marginal rapper who had some decent beats, and he hit, but no one's jocking him. You know, we ain't talked about Kanye since he did that 808 Heartbeats when he went auto tune back in '08. How long ago was that? That's where people kind of fell off the train with him. That's been almost 20 years ago. Shoot. Now he still got love for the beats he did, and he created, Jesus Walks, and he had his moments, the people, but ain't nobody jocking him though. We belong together is better than, it's better than Halo and Drunken Love and Ego put together. You Know We Belong Together is a money track. The Christmas song is a money track. Vision of Love, the one she did with Bone Thugs, she's got a better catalog. Crazy in Love is probably my favorite. I like Love on Top. That's one of the few songs she actually sung. Halo was decent. Irreplaceable is a decent song. Well, that's much as to do with Neo though. But that's it though. I think that if he had to stop before that and went on his way, he'd have probably been seen probably as a top tenor from people when you combine his, music overall. But I think that, he just did too much. If I just use what she did in the 90s, that stomps Beyonce. Because Beyonce, from when Crazy in Love to now, ain't got nothing to see Mariah's 90s stuff. And Mariah was one of the first to start singing and rapping. Remember when she did with Breakdown with Bone Thugs, and she incorporated with hip hop in her music. I'm not the biggest Mariah Carey fan, so let's get this thing straight right now because she squeals too much and she don't really put the meat on it and or the tofu on it and make that song stick. But she got the kind of material that if Beyonce had, he was just okay. I don't like saying this because people get angry, but I feel safe here. Pretty much. And that was her best stuff. I like a couple of those songs with them. It's not really generating what you expect. It was okay record. They don't really mess with people like they used to. I put my hands in that honey a few times and they don't buzz like they did. They used to be worse. The Beehive isn't as worse as it used to be. Just for everybody to know, I got about 20 more minutes before I'm gonna call it a day because I'm giving y'all straight 2 hours. I won't be on tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, and then I'll, you know. But oh yeah, I had to deal with the Hive. They cooled way down. But I'm gonna tell you something. You notice a pattern. If you're a LeBron James fan, you're gonna be a Beyonce fan. You're a Jay Z fan. They only friends. They only friends. They only friends. And it all kind of goes all because their standard behavior is, yeah. I had to deal with all the bee stings from all three of them. Hmm. If I do some commentary about Jay Z on some of these places, I get hated on. Beyonce, you get hated on. LeBron, you get hated on. So I listened to the country record, and she had um, a couple of pieces that I like. Raphael Sadiq did that, the 16 bars one. It was okay, but again, a lot of her stuff just feels contrived, and it feels like somebody playing in their mama's clothes, saying that they're grown. But I don't really get a definitive statement from her as an artist. That's all I keep getting at. She can perform. I'm starting Isaiah Thomas. I'm gonna bench John Stockton. I gotta cut Gary Payton because Isaiah was better than both them two as far as what he could do, and he could defend, and he made teammates better, and he was, you know. And I love Gary too. Stockton one of them guys. He could have pulled a LeBron James and played till he was about 90. The way he could play point guard. So, and I like Gary a lot. But Isaiah and John Stockton are two of the five greatest point guards I've ever seen. Gary would be in that 6 to 10 slot, but there's a gap between one through four, and then 6 through 10. There's a gap, and Gary's not in there, not in their clique for me. And I like Gary, but I love Isaiah Thomas. Man, Zeke was the truth. Zeke to me is who Jordan aspired to be, probably more than he ever admitted. More so than Magic or Bird or anybody else or Dr. J for that matter. Because he had to know that 6 foot one dude was a problem. People in the know how bad Isaiah Thomas was. He held back. Crazy skill set. And originally, him and Caleb Drapuker were the Splash Brothers of their era in '84. If you go back, the highest scoring game ever with the Pistons and the Nuggets, you know. Well, where did I begin? They sampled Tupac and they took Prince's "I Fought With Your Girlfriend" and they used all that. I like the video and the concept was cool. And that's kind of how they really are in the business. That's kind of how they see. Um, I'm gonna start Oscar Robinson. I'm gonna bench Magic, and I have to cut Isaiah. Oscar Robinson has to start because you could take what he's doing. He was a better scorer than Magic, and I believe if he plays with a system that gave him a chance to win, he could win almost half as much. It triple double, and he did everything that Magic did. And again, you don't have to win 15 rings. He left a lasting impact. And if you debate and you be in honesty, he's considered probably one of 15, 16 greatest players ever. So, and Magic was the guy that really solidified the non-role of a guy and could beat you with only scoring 2 points. So, yeah, I have to go with that. That is tough for me, but I can do it. I don't have no biases when I'm being honest. I put the biases to bed. But Oscar Robertson was that dude, though. He that dude. The only nod you could give it over him is because of the fact that he could play without scoring much. But uh, if we go by the totality, it's the big O. Because Magic never went against a guy like that. He go against a guy like that, he might not be seen as so great. Oscar Robinson could flat out score. There was no 3 point line. There was hand choking you defense. The lane. I grew watching Magic, and I love Magic. But he also had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, peak prime, still playing at a high level. Jamal Wilkes. Um, he had a lot going for him. He had a great situation. When Oscar Robinson got a hands on a Kareem, he won a chip too. See, gotta remember, you got the balance of what you got. And remember, Oscar Robinson was going toe to toe with Jerry West, kind of like Bird and Magic, except they were scoring crazy numbers. Was that year that when Wilt didn't get the MVP, that Russell got it when he averaged 50, and Oscar Robinson was averaging some crazy numbers too. So no, no. It's just like Elgin Baylor. I mean, you gotta remember, sometimes cats just play in an era where someone else shine. But acting like these cats couldn't roll, please. It's one of them. It's one of them. It's way up there. No, Vaseline is way up there. Um, dollars and cents. DJ Quick up there. I got a few of them that I got up there. No, no. And that's the sad part too, because all the stats he's got, but because he played so long, he's statted, but he never came up big where you can remember. You know, that's the sad part about him. Because if you thought he was a top 10 point guard of all time, then you would think overall as a totality as a player, he's got to be somewhere in the 25 to 50 ranking. I don't think no one's going to put Russell Westbrook in the 25 to 50 ranking. So therefore, no, he's not. And he also going to hurt from a guy like SGA, who's a tweener, but just saying. And it's a sad part though. Yeah, I still love Ether. But see, diss tracks don't really matter because if they did, Jay Z would never came back from that. Okay. Let's see if anybody's still around. Where is 50 Cent this? Oh man, I like 50. 50 cracked me up because I remember that whole when he trolled that Photoshop with Diddy. That whole thing was funny. Do you think? Oh, they got to win another ring before I say something less like that. Got to win some more rings before I say something like that. If they win another ring, I might make a statement for Jalen. He's nice, but Paul Pierce was clutch. You got to do it another time before I'd say that. And he's got to, build his portfolio up. I need another ring, deep run, probably about 5 years. And if he's got 20,000 plus points, five, hitting rebounds, assists, but I can't say that right now. Mm-mm. But that's why Paul Pierce isn't where he think he should be either. So no, if I dissing something, I'm just saying. But he's not though. I mean, if we go roll call, Steph, Magic, Oscar, Stockton, Isaiah. That's five. Then you got to make a case for Jason Kidd, Gary Payton, because Paul was more clutch. He went to two finals. He had a better body of work. 25 plus 26,000 points. He was a big time player. Jalen Williams, you get me about 4 or 4 runs, years, and then maybe another ring. And then I can make that case. Then I can put a side by side. But at this stage, I can't say that. It's not always about the ring, it's about the body of work things that you build up. Okay, so I mentioned those two. Excuse me. Um, Steve Nash is gonna have a better rapport. Mm-hmm. 3-3-1. That's an area code. That's not the recipe of chips. I like how you get excited because when y'all get your butt beat by Tampa Bay, we'll see where you are. Yeah, I mean, and Pierce had to earn it, and he defended too. So, like I said, look, I got no problem with giving somebody props if they doing something, but cats think because you win a ring that somehow you morph yourself over a guy who played in a more tougher era, and I'm not gonna do that to Paul Pierce. It takes time for you to get to that point. Jalen Williams ain't have quite the battle. That's not taken away from him. It's just the facts. I think. Well, it's a must win for Detroit because if Tampa Bay wins, no, I'm going to be leaving in about a few minutes myself. I got about 5 more minutes, and have a safe trip when you go. It's a big game for Detroit because if they lose Baker Mayfield, then Tampa Bay wins another game, then he gonna get the MVP. So they got to win tonight. And Seattle, I think Seattle. That's my takes. I hope you have a safe trip. Appreciate you coming through. To win the game tonight, they play in Houston, right? But no, not in the big picture. No, I don't think they are consistent enough. But they'll win a couple of games. I think they're a wild card team. I don't think they're better than the Rams or the 49ers, but they're going to be a wild card team. If your quarterback can't even throw his body weight when he was 10 years old, chances are, yeah, you probably will. They got no quarterback. They got no defense. They got no hope. Because it's a bad move all the way around. The Jets are just bad news. Okay, so I got about 4 more minutes. And I'm going to call it a day. They probably will. I mean, as long as he doesn't make too many mistakes, you know, um, probably will. Like I say, Shanahan knows how to coach up quarterbacks. He just got to finish it up. If he ever wins a ring, he'll be seen as like the heir apparent to Bill Walsh. I kid you not. Because if you think about their successful run, they had Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy. He lost two Super Bowls with two different quarterbacks, okay? And a quarterback that they drafted, they didn't even use in Trey Lance. And they got Mac Jones playing. So you gotta be impressed with what he do, but he gotta finish it up. His shenanigans is what's hurting his legacy. I think that they just suck, and I think they are as good as they're gonna be. Sometimes it just ain't your year. So yeah, it's not their year. That's all. That's all. So they probably will fool around and get the fruit of the loom bowl. That's probably what they'll get if they get a bowl. But if James Franklin wasn't the problem, then it's something else that's going on. So, but I'm not worried about it. I knew they were gonna lose that game to Ohio State. So, well, they're gonna lose that game to Michigan. They always do. So now they ain't got to worry about that. So they go get the onion bowls. They go start crying because they're not gonna do nothing. So yeah, he did good though. It's just that with the scandal and who you're replacing, and that's the reality. Anywhere else, he could have probably coached 25 years and nobody would have said nothing. They'd have been happy to get the Legos Bowl, you know, or the Pizza Hut Bowl. So, but Penn State got a reputation. He had to know. He knew. Just wasn't him. It cars to be so. Anyway, I think that just about concludes it. Appreciate everybody that came through. I was on for 2 hours today. And I wanted to thank everyone that came through. Great to see Ted again. RC, appreciate you. Dakota, thank you. J Will for the donations, the shout outs. Everybody that came through. Great questions, great times. And I look forward to seeing y'all again very soon. I might be back on Wednesday. Questionable on Thursday. And I'll definitely probably be back on Friday. So, but anyway, I done back to back couple hours. Been great to see everybody. So stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. We out one time. Peace.